from the Crypt.
Hello, boys and ghouls. Welcome to episode 42 of Dads from the Crypt, a Tales from the Crypt podcast. My name is Jason. I am joined by Mando.
Hello.
And Jody is having some power outage, but we have some amazing guests, some spooky moms for our Mother's Day episode, our dear friends with the Bloody Good Horror Slack community. Welcome to the show, Lara and Dottie.
Hello.
Hi.
How are we doing?
We're awake.
They're awake. These troopers.
See, this is where Jason is supposed to introduce everybody individually, but when you introduce people together, they don't know who to go first. So,
Well, we don't usually have this many guests. But Lara wins the gold star for the night because she's recording from a hotel lobby. Tell us about that.
I am. So our power went out at 5 o'clock this afternoon. And I 100% almost texted and said, you guys, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. But then we decided to go to a hotel in town. And I was like, you know what? It'll be fine. Everything's going to be okay. And here I am.
Spoken like a true mother.
just figuring shit out and making it work.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So Jody needs to step his game up. He needs to pack all of his 17 children in a car and find someplace the internet next time. It'll be unacceptable for him to miss another episode now.
He's one of those double-decker buses.
Like the ones they have in England.
Yeah.
just to drive his children around. I've always said, like, if you ever have a child that's just annoying you, just like push him in Jody's clan when they're walking through like Target, and it'll take them a week to find out they have another mouth to feed. We'll be fine. But no, Jody, seriously, we miss you, and hope your power comes back on soon. And happy Mother's Day to your wife.
All right, and then so as our guests, why don't you introduce yourselves and tell us your experience with Tales from the Crypt? Dottie, you can start.
Oh, sort of playing chicken with each other over here. My experience with Tales from the Crypt is kind of wild. I wasn't allowed to watch it as a kid because I was scared of everything. So like Mr. Ed was out, like talking horses were not okay. So Tales from the Crypt certainly wasn't going to make the cut. But I did get to hear the voice of the Crypt Keeper at MegaCon for a few years in Florida. And he was also the unofficial master of scaremonies for Halloween Horror Nights, which is near and dear to my heart, for one of the years. So I've had a couple of run-ins with the character and some of the shows.
So, but had you actually watched the show previous to this?
Yeah, I watched a few episodes, and I've watched Bordello of Blood more times than I'm willing to admit.
Nice. So you're the one.
Yeah.
So you like Bordello of Blood?
I like parts of Bordello of
Okay.
Blood.
I mean,
there's parts I think we like too, but
Yes.
Granted.
We probably like the same parts.
There's nothing wrong with it. I got on a plane to go to San Francisco on a weekday to see a 35 millimeter print of Jason 10. So I have no place to talk when it comes to guilty pleasures.
nice. And Lara, what's your experience with Tales from the Crypt?
So I also was not allowed to watch it, but that is because of my conservative household as a child. But I did watch it. I did eventually watch like back episodes and went through like the entire series. I just watched the new series and on Shudder that they're doing. And I love
the Creep Show. The Creep Show series is pretty fun.
Yeah. Oh, that's a different one. Yeah.
It's so close though, because they're
Right.
both anthology
I know.
shows that came around the same
Right.
time period.
I'm losing track of all the things. But yeah, no, I did recently watch like all of the episodes because I saw the episode that we watched for today previously, and I didn't realize that I had seen it before, so that was kind of fun. But yeah, I like them all. I mean, I like all of the movies. I have also seen Bordello of Blood one too many times, but it's like a background movie that I like to put on just to kind of like listen to things in the background, and it's fine. It's great.
Nice. Okay, announcements for tonight. Again, we're having our William Sadler live Q&A on our YouTube channel on May 22nd at noon West Coast time. So that'll be your chance to come on, hang out with us, and send us questions. You can also send questions ahead of time to our email address, dadsfromthecrypt@gmail.com. You can tweet us, you can DM our Instagram, all those things. So again, mark your calendars, May 22nd at noon West Coast time.
Jason, you didn't ask me how I was doing. Normally you start every episode by asking me how I'm doing.
Mando, how are you feeling tonight?
I'm doing good. So thanks for asking.
Okay.
So May 4th is a very actually important day. We're recording right now on May 4th. It is the Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. It is my sister's 45th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Ooh.
Happy
sister?
birthday, Mondo's sister, whose also name is Kelly. Like my wife's name is Kelly, but it's spelled different, so it's okay.
Okay.
She goes by Kalina. But more importantly than all those things, do you know what else happened tonight and will go down in infamy on May 4th, 2022?
No.
Tonight I received my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt.
Oh,
Oh, that's
cool.
So
exciting.
I'm on cloud fucking 9 right now. So nothing can go wrong. And I have the best song of the day of all time. So yeah, I'm into it tonight.
I mean, I'm wearing my Bar Wars t-shirt.
Are you?
Our May the 4th bar crawl.
That's awesome.
Called
I
Bar
won a
Wars.
cooking competition for May the 4th.
Did you? What'd you make?
I made limbe. So I made blue milk limbe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What is lingbe? I'm so sorry. I feel so
Lingbe.
uncultured.
I also do
Fine.
not know what it is.
It's a Puerto Rican icy. So it's like coconut ice cream. It's cheap.
Ooh.
That sounds amazing.
It's delicious.
It's not the blue
crazy.
milk drink that Luke likes. Luke.
No, I didn't go milk a bantha. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
That's pretty awesome. I thought you mentioned that, and Jason's like, "Oh, I'm like, well, I'm just an uncultured idiot. I'm gonna have to ask
I
what
know.
this is."
I also did not
I'm
know.
just a big nerd. All right. Tonight, we will be discussing Tales from the Crypt episode, This'll Kill Ya. This is the second episode, which also premiered on June 27th, 1992. So just like previous seasons, they released 3 episodes, the first to start off the season. Jody's not here, and we found that out pretty late in the game, so we didn't have a chance to do a custom plot synopsis. So I'm reading off of a website, so we'll see how this one goes.
So okay. So you're saying you didn't do your research? It's totally fine.
Well, I only had like 45 minutes. Come on.
I'm
Okay.
pretty sure I did essay papers in high school. It only took me
Yeah.
45 minutes, but it's fine.
All right. The story starts with a man named George dragging a corpse into a police station and saying that he's dead, and the dead body is the man that killed him. We get a flashback, and we see that George works as a scientist and requires insulin. And he works with Sophie, his ex-girlfriend. I don't think they were married. And Professor Brightman is the other colleague. They're upset that he's approved something for human testing that isn't really ready. George sneaks into Sophie's house and has sex with her in a very creepy way, but I guess eventually she's into it. Maybe, probably. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's really,
We'll talk about it later.
yeah.
Questionable.
Next day at the lab, George apologizes and Sonia gives him his insulin because I guess he doesn't like doing it himself. So he only needs insulin that like twice a day, maybe, when they're together in the lab. So I don't know what he does on the weekends.
That's a good point.
But this time she injects him with the experimental drug. There's not yet an antidote, so he's pretty much screwed. When George goes to the bar, he realizes that the whole thing has been premeditated by his two colleagues. He surprises Professor Brightman at the lab and beats him with a baseball bat, and injects him with a deadly dose of the drug that they've been testing. When Sophie finds him, she tells him that they didn't actually do anything fatal to him, that this had just been to teach him a lesson. And then we get a closing with the Crypt Keeper building a gallows, saying that his friends are very well hung.
That's it. That was the shortest synopsis in the history of our podcast. And that's what this episode deserves. So it's fine.
All right. Dottie, what did you think of this episode?
Oh, Dylan McDermott. Oh man.
90s Dylan McDermott.
So young.
Ever since American Horror Story, I cannot take that man seriously. But other than that, I don't, there wasn't really much there for the whole episode. It was very obvious to me from the beginning exactly what would happen. I had the same questions about why everybody was doing what on earth they were doing, like why this grown man can't inject himself with insulin, but manages to do so, I guess, sometimes, but still keeps it as lab. Why the lab beeps all the time? That was probably the worst for me.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that, like, my kids had like some toy or something that was going off in the room, or if that was the episode. I was really confused at first.
I'm just assuming they just don't change our smoke alarm batteries, but it's fine.
But yeah, I mean, I've seen worse episodic TV before, but this was pretty close to the worst. I'm sorry, Dylan McDermott. Sorry.
All right, Lara.
So I have a lot of the same feelings as Dottie. So I thought for a brief moment that they wanted to hire Salma Hayek as Sophie.
Oh, real fast.
But
I have my Salma
they-
Hayek t-shirt on, my Satanical Pandemonium shirt
Oh,
on.
nice.
I love it. But they didn't, and they didn't have the budget for it, and so they got Sonia Braga. Not that she isn't amazing, but I just like I feel like you guys all feel where I'm going with that.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Well, it's interesting to make that connection because Sonia Braga was also in From Dusk Till Dawn Part 3.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yep. And so, but other than that, like this whole episode was, it was almost kind of boring. Like one of the most boring Tales from the Crypt episodes, just because there kind of just wasn't anything there. It was like Dylan McDermott is a dick as normal. I feel like that's just his role. Like that's what he does.
He's got that face. That like
that punchable face.
Like if you're in the grocery store if you're at Whole Foods and he's in front of you, you're like, I just know he's gonna ask where the salmon came from. Like you just know he's gonna ask.
But then right, so he puts his insulin in the back of the shelf where they keep the drug that they're using for testing, where she right away in the very beginning like sets it up. We are going to accidentally switch your medicine if you don't put it where you're supposed to. It's like, how old are you and why also are you on insulin? I'm very concerned because not that diabetes is, or whatever it is that you have. You don't seem like you're doing things the right way. So you probably would have died prior to that.
I don't know about you guys, but we have like our medicine kind of area in our kitchen.
Mhm.
And my dog's liver medication is right next to allergy pills. I've never mixed those up. I've never accidentally taken a dog a liver pill instead of allergy medication. So
That you know of.
Interesting. That you know of.
Oh, I had to emergency style give my son allergy medication tonight. I did not confuse that for the other dye-free medications next to it because they all have labels.
And these are like scientists.
Right. And in the same bottle, experimental medications kept in the exact same bottle as
Yeah,
insulin.
and they're not even like different, like right, like you couldn't have put it at the top. Why are you putting it at the back of the shelf in the first place? Like the very back?
Because
It's not even labeled.
Are you
right,
afraid
because-
of like Phil from the other department, like to use your insulin instead of his?
Yeah, I don't understand this film.
if I had a medication I had to take several times a day, I'd put it in the most hard to reach place as possible, obviously.
Next
That
to
make the most
deadly
sense.
next
Next
to
to
the
deadly experimental medication.
But then also he's like, I don't like needles. And I'm like, well, I get it, but like
You're a doctor?
so that's what's interesting. I don't think that he was a scientist. I think he was just the like kind of like the business development guy, like the marketing guy.
That's all I was thinking
Like,
too, marketing guy or publicist or something like that.
Right, because he didn't. One, he clearly did not strike me because he had no idea what was going on with the medication in the first place. But then I don't think that any of them, he only just knew the one scientist previously. And then, right? And then Sophie just kind of happened to like partner up with them.
Yeah, there's no real backstory given.
No, there's not.
We're trying harder than I think they did.
We're filling in the gaps. I've always said it's bad storytelling when you have to, your audience has to fill in like massive gaps in logic.
Yeah, so this was kind of a big flop for me, unfortunately. I didn't
Okay.
love it.
Mando?
Yeah, I think this is actually one of the worst episodes we've seen so far. We talk a lot about Tales from the Crypt. At the minimum, good horror should be fun. You guys mentioned Bordello of Blood. For all of its flaws, at least there's some fun stuff in there you can sink your teeth into and have fun with, not including Dennis Miller, obviously. But here, it just felt like there was really no true protagonist. Everyone kind of sucked in their own way. I mean, yeah, they're trying to teach him a lesson by giving him a fake drug and tell him it's experimental, when obviously it had an effect on him because he obviously misses insulin shot, which isn't good and could have killed him. So what a fucked up joke to play on somebody, no matter how much of a dick they are. And he was a dick. And the whole scene, like I fucking hated when if someone gives you a key to their apartment, it's not carte blanche to just go inside their house whenever you feel like it. My buddy Tom, I watched his house when they were away and fed his dogs. I know the code to his key box out front. I'm not just going to go to his house and walk in and be like, hey, what's up? And surprise him in the shower. Unless Tom, you really want me to, in which case you have my number.
Well, if he asks you for it, that takes away surprise.
that's consent, right? No, that scene was really fucking bad. And especially looking at it through, it was never okay. But you look at it through a modern lens, like, dude, he kind of broke into her house, assaulted her. Let's be honest, he assaulted her in the bathroom because she was at first, she's like, no, go away, get off me.
It got very rapey. Like,
yes.
I'm not gonna lie.
And I really,
100%.
yeah, it's fucked up. And I really hate the fact they showed her like getting into it after a while. Like, that's just so fucking gross. I'm sorry. It's just fucking gross. So when I started watching that scene, I'm like, all right, this is going downhill. And then it never had the cool, like, it wasn't slapstick. Like, it's like everyone there was trying to play it almost too straight. And they never got the Tales from the Crypt is supposed to be Tales from the Crypt. It's supposed to be someone getting their comeuppance and somewhat fun and entertaining. And it was really none of those. So this episode really did not hit for me. It felt more like a shitty version of Red Shoe Diaries than it did of an episode of Tales from the Crypt. So yeah, not a fan of this. And I've already written down my rating and Jason's rating. So I'm pretty interested to see what happens at the end.
Yeah, I mean, there's no arguing with anything anyone said. I will say that the cast is very interesting, at least for me. So let's start with the director. Actually, if there's one thing I liked about this episode, I thought visually it was actually really well done. There's some like kind of Cronenberg-esque moments. There's a scene where he's like looking across the bar and he sees a guy with all like these cancers all over his face. And then when he gets injected with a shot, there's kind of like a very stylistic shot of like inside the needle with like blood rushing through.
Those effects and the effects they actually did with the prosthetics was actually really cool, I thought.
Yeah. So So that because this was directed by a guy who was mostly known at the time for his music videos. So he did music videos for, his name is Robert Longo. He did music videos for New Order, Megadeth, REM, Helmet. He's a visual artist. He does amazing charcoal drawings. It's a really cool website.
Oh, he also directed Johnny Mnemonic.
Yes, his sole feature film, which I've always meant to see, but it's so overshadowed by The Matrix.
Watching and chatting that on Friday the 13th, if anyone else is interested.
Which one? John Mnemonic?
Johnny Mnemonic.
Really?
Oddly enough, yeah.
But it's gonna be on Friday the 13th. That's gonna be Joe Bob night, though.
I know it's going to be hard for me to. We're half-assing. It's for another podcast. So.
But I do love Johnny Mnemonic, though. I think it's actually, like you said, it's super underrated, and it was actually loosely based off the tabletop RPG Shadowrun.
Nice.
Because I'm also a fucking geek.
Yeah, I think I played that video game like on the Genesis way back in the day.
Okay, so there's a Genesis version and a Super Nintendo version, and both were drastically different.
Yeah. The
Super Nintendo version is legit one of my top 10 favorite games of all time, to say. But super unrelated to anything.
Yeah. So if there's one thing I will say I liked about this episode was the visual style. So I'll give it that. Sophie Braga plays Sophie. She's her first big role in America, at least, was Kiss of the Spider Woman. She was in Dust Till Dawn 3. She also had a little arc in Sex and the City and Alias. Dylan McDermott plays George. His breakout was probably Steel Magnolias, obviously in The Practice and American Horror Stories, the first season. He was also in the kind of a badass movie Hardware. Did you ever see that?
No.
Hardware is a pretty cool Cronenberg-esque, I guess you can say. It's funny because it reminds me of a well-made Tetsuo the Iron Man, because fuck that movie. And it's also, do you know why people know that movie? I think it's from The Office.
Oh, really?
So there's a scene,
yes,
when I forgot the new receptionist's name that replaces Pam, when she's like, when Gabe gets to pick movie night and he goes, I picked a good movie this week. It's called Hardware. And she's like, he always picks creepy movies. I'm like, hey, I have that movie.
Right.
Oh, Ellie Kemper. Yeah.
Ellie Kemper. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then the other doctor, what's his name again? I lost it.
Oh, he's Cleavon Little.
Cleavon Little. And he was in Vanishing Point, which is an awesome cult movie. And he was also the star in Blazing Saddles, which is huge. I saw his face right away. I'm like, why do I know him as Blazing Saddles? Also in Once Bitten with Jim Carrey, one of Jim Carrey's, I guess, I don't know if I call that a breakout role, because True Living Color is probably his breakout role. Yeah. But one of his early kind of cool forgotten films. He also was in Fletch Lives. And then one of my favorite bit pieces in Tales from the Crypt that always seems to pop up is the bartender that like a character just kind of goes to when they're down on their luck, or they need just like a respite, and they just need like a character actor to come in and just give a couple lines, just be kind of cool for a few minutes. This one is played by Rick Alio, and he's been a ton of it's
Aiello.
Aiello.
Excuse me. He was a big Spike Lee actor.
Sorry.
That's right. He plays like a cop, and like he plays the exact same cop in a bunch of different Spike Lee movies. So he's in Do the Right Thing and Jungle Fever. He was also in Sex in the City as well, and Sopranos.
Can we talk about how he was in he was in Law and Order Criminal Intent. He was in SVU as somebody different, CSI.
Yeah, he's
and then he was in VIP and Walker, Texas Ranger, and 18 Wheels of Justice.
Hey man, make that money.
Man, that was like the syndication glory days. Or like just turn on TNT and see what's syndicated and what's showing on there.
Oh no, yeah, we already talked about all the plot issues. And I don't know, but again, this though I will say again for Tales from the Crypt, this is a very diverse cast, because you have African-American actor and a Brazilian and a Caucasian actor. That's for Tales of the Crypt. That's like groundbreaking.
I think the casting was fine. I think the characters themselves, like in in their own little bubble were actually interesting characters. But I think just overall, everything just when you put it together fell flat.
Yeah.
It's almost like
Just
we should
like
talk to
this-
these screenwriters and see what the hell they were thinking, Jason.
We just might. We can get to that in a minute.
Nice if they were nicer to Sophie. Like,
Yeah.
poor
Yeah.
character wearing
Mhm.
that ridiculous getup in the beginning, and then just like wandering around going, "I can't quit you," and then
Oh
Oh
man,
my gosh, yes. And then what was the scene where so they inject him with just like a double dose of insulin, right? Is that what it turned out to be at the end? So, or just like
I don't
didn't
remember if they
say-
said what it
I
was.
she
swear
said
they
we
said,
tampered with it.
Yeah.
yeah, I swear she said it was like just an extra. So whatever. So he starts hallucinating at one point, right? When he's at the bar and she's
Mhm.
in that like insane outfit. And I'm just like, what happening?
Well, yeah, and again, going back to the whole apartment scene, like what really bugged me about that is it was kind of saying, oh, if you're a male, just go ahead and break into this girl's house and seduce her. It's fine. Eventually she'll come around and she'll get with the program. And I'm like, that is so just fucked up. That whole scene was just so uncomfortable. And that's like, I was hoping they'd make her the protagonist. Like she should have been the strong person. It's like, no, get the fuck out of my apartment. And they could have rolled with that, which I thought it made the episode better. It should have
Well,
been
it was
that
just
strong
so
protagonist character.
extended.
Yeah,
Like that whole like scene was like they were chewing scenery, but in the wrong places.
definitely.
It was like this should not have been as long as it was. It should have been much faster, and
Definitely.
it just made it. And it almost was like pointless. Like
It
that
was absolutely
whole,
pointless.
Yeah,
like
no, that's
It's
interesting because
structure
we
of
like it when they go big in these episodes, but I guess there's a point. There's scenes that you should go big and scenes you should not go big.
Well,
And that
well,
was
yeah.
definitely not.
I mean, they made her more of like the love struck kind of. I don't know. They made her more of like a
Which-
love struck woman instead of the strong woman character, which she should have been, which should have made her the protagonist of the episode.
which is interesting that she was the one who wanted to doctor his insulin shot. Like she kind of just took revenge,
Right.
essentially.
And they
Okay.
made it seem she was more taking revenge because of him like going to the press about the medication than him what he did to her and her apartment.
Right.
Yeah.
Then him,
Like she just
his-
got
him and Gemma.
brushed that off.
Well, that's what I mean. That whole scene, which is really uncomfortable, is kind of made just to be like it's like a ho ho ha ha transitionary scene. And I'm like, no, everything that happened here, none of this is okay.
Mhm,
She
mhm.
started off with trying to bite him.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Nothing
I
about
was like,
that screams, no, keep going.
Like if she would have kicked his ass or punched him and sent him out of the apartment, I'd be like, fuck yeah, that's what you should have done. But the fact that she's like, okay, I'll guess I'll be into this. I was like, like you know,
Yeah,
like this
I
is
mean,
bad.
it just got real weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially considering this week, our Supreme Court decided to just attack women at a whole different level. Maybe that hit different too this week, but I was like, did not feel good.
No, it's a common trope though. Like,
Yeah,
unfortunately, you
especially.
see a lot of like well, she's just feisty, and this is what's gonna happen now. Like, no, thankfully, you don't see this often now, but
That is
was
true.
pretty common in the 80s.
Even for the
Uh,
90s. What was that? 92? Was it?
Yeah,
Right? This was?
92. So yeah, it was
feel like
still
that's-
unfortunately a bad trope.
But you know what? Like if you spend an hour on Twitter, you'll find there are still people that think this way, that think like that's okay, like that's what should happen in the world. That's why it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It
I've
bugged
been on
me
plenty
pretty
of
bad.
first dates with those people.
Yeah.
The ones who are like, oh, you're just so strong. And I'm like, yes, that'll continue. And if you think I'm a pain in the ass now, just wait and see.
Just wait.
Yeah, it only gets up from here.
I'll say in my travels, because I travel a lot for work, is I've seen two of my favorite things I've ever seen in a bar. One was I was in a bar. The reason why it's like one of my favorite things. I was at a bar in Seattle across from my my hotel, and just having some dinner and shooting the shit with the bartender. And this woman was sitting about 4 seats down from me with only two people at the bar. And this guy walks up and sits next to her, and she starts talking to him, and she's just laughing. You can definitely tell. I can pick out business travelers from a mile away now. So I'm a business traveler. She gets up to go to the bathroom, and the dude drops something in her drink.
Oh no.
And the bartender looks over, and I'm looking. The bartender goes, "Did you see that too?" I said, "Yep." He goes, "Cool." He walks over and grabs a drink and throws in the sink. And goes, get out right now before I call the cops. And the guy got up, left. She came back to the bathroom. Bartender said, I got your food. I got your bill. Don't worry about it. Do you want a hand gain home? She goes, yeah. So they got security escorted to the hotel. I was like, that's
you should have called the cops.
well, there's not much the cops can really do. And it's just weird. But anyhow, the guy left, hightailed it. Lady got home safe. Bartender did the right thing to get her home safe.
Good.
And I was like, that's a fucked up situation that still happens. And I was blown away that I saw it, but I love the way it was responded to. The second one was, I still remember I was sitting at a pretty packed bar in St. Louis. I was there for business. And I'm sitting here, there's an empty seat and a woman sitting next to me from there. And this guy sits up and he puts in the bar. He goes, can I buy your drink? She goes, fuck off. He goes, noted. And he walked away and just left. And I was like, that's how it should be. I said, bravo, dude. Like, you handled that the right way. But it reminded me of like, dude, like it's 2022. Like even 30 years ago, watches with 30 years ago lenses, I'm pretty sure some people probably watch this and were like, yeah, this is pretty gross.
All right. We don't have a comic comparison tonight, so we'll move on to final thoughts.
Or ratings or final thoughts.
More ratings.
I mean, I get why they did it, man, because I've had marketing people promise things that don't exist yet.
I love that you're going the marketing angle on this because so part of my job as a sales engineer is when my sales guy tells a customer we can do something, it's me going, actually not quite.
That's what I used to do, Mando. I totally get it.
I'm on the other end of the
manufacturing.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm the manufacturer, so yeah, I get
Yep. It was good time.
Luckily, my sales guys are cool and they're like, oh shit, we can't. Okay, we'll tell them what we can do. They don't press the issue.
No, that's not how it works for me. But it's fine.
Now I thankfully work with people who don't overpromise, but in the past it's been like, well, guess you're working crunch hours for a while. I'm like, no, literally the technology does not exist.
It's not magic. We don't have that capability.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel like you guys both work in the tech industry.
I
think
do
all of us
not.
do. Oh.
Lara worked
don't.
way cooler jobs than that.
No, yeah. No, now I'm just in event planning, which is great, except when you live in a destination wedding area.
Oh,
That's all there are.
Do you deal with a
fine.
lot of bridezillas, as they call them?
Momzillas are the
mm.
new thing now. And I want to punch them all in the face through Zoom every time we talk. I'm like, it's 60 people. Why does it need to be plated? Why do you need 4 different entree choices? And 4 appetizers? No, I don't care. You're not doing it.
I could not even imagine.
All right, let's
No.
move on to our episode rating. Mando, why don't you go first?
1.
This
is bottom of the barrel. I think it does not have the fun. I want the campiness on from Tales from the Crypt. The only horror was really the kind of cool prosthetics they did. And at the end of the day, like everyone in this episode kind of sucks. Obviously, McDermott being the worst of them all, but like you still wouldn't give someone an experimental drug and call it a joke. Like that's kind of fucked up. That's like some TikTok bullshit nowadays, right? That's what the kids do. Yeah, I just did not like this episode. Didn't have fun with it. Again, like any episode, you pull those weird, creepy rape vibes in the middle, like, it just totally took me out of it. And even though I know you praise the cinematography, all that blue filter shit made me think I was watching like a Tim Burton video. Like, what the fuck? Did Tim Burton direct this shit? But I knew he didn't because Johnny Depp and Helen Bonham Carter were in it. So
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, Dottie, what would you rate this episode?
I give it a 2 just for Cleavon Little really selling that vague prompt of you've been injected with something that makes tumors in the heart. Now go. That was the only thing that I was like, okay, this maybe made it worth sitting through the whole rest of the episode.
I respect that. Cleavon read that script. He's like, I'm fucking nailing this line right here. And he actually died like 3 months. I just saw after this episode aired.
Really?
Yeah.
Mondo,
I was like,
Mondo, you stole my trivia.
oh shit. Okay.
That-
You can still pretend
Yeah.
like I never said that.
Just edit it.
Yeah, we'll just edit that.
I'm not editing that.
All right, Lara, what would you rate this episode?
Oh, is a half of
You
a
can do-
point
you can do
even
half.
a big?
Yeah,
I'll do
100%.
half. I don't think. I mean, I feel like maybe I would give it a 1 only because of. You're right. There were some lines that they just nailed like real well. But I'm
Whatever you feel in your heart, that's what you got to give it.
gonna give it a half. It's a halfsy. It's
Wow,
a
just
tiny baby.
Point
episode.
0.5.
Just a 0.5.
Wow.
I know it's rough.
No. I'm going with a 2.
Ah!
You need to write
I wrote down.
You need to write it down.
I wrote down. Jason will give this a 2.
I need verification. Yeah, I liked Cleavon Little, and I like the cast and I liked some of those visual flourishes, but plot wise and pretty much everything else just sucked.
And Jason, I won't argue with you. I think you're a little bit more generous than I am when it comes to having, like you said, good cinematography and the cast was solid. They did their jobs, but like, yeah.
Well, yeah, we've already talked about the feelings.
Yeah.
And now we'll have a anecdote from Al Katz, our good friend, and future Mondo can edit in here if he actually comes through with it. If not, you can just take out this whole part.
Not if I come through, if Al comes through.
Okay. All right, let's move on to our song of the day.
So I had a really epiphany that came to me while I was watching this episode. I said, this is one of the worst episodes of one of my favorite TV series of all time. So I said, what's the best song from the worst band of all time?
Oh.
So
okay.
so
This will be interesting.
wait, is this the night?
So,
So tonight we're gonna go with the song, "The Immigrant Song"
Oh,
by Led Zeppelin, which is
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
the best song from the worst band of all time.
That's okay.
That's
Because Led Zeppelin fucking sucks. And I will go to the ends of the earth with this. Jimmy Page, not a good person.
You gonna die on that hill?
I will die on that hill.
yeah. That's his
I mean, Jimmy Page basically kidnapped a 12-year-old to marry.
Yeah,
like
no,
at that
we're-
point, no, that's fact. That's
no.
no, it's pretty much fact
No,
at this
no,
point.
I'm not disagreeing. But
Okay.
I'm saying,
I'm pretty sure that the Page estate can't sue you because your name's on the podcast. But
I don't know if I love Immigrant Song. I don't know if that's their best song, but it's a really fucking good song.
what's the best song? What's Led Zeppelin's best song? I'm actually really interested.
If I had to pick like 5 of the
I want you to pick 5.
3,
I want you to pick 1. If you had to pick your top song, what would it be?
I would have to say Since I've Been Loving You or No Quarter.
Okay. I disagree, but okay, I respect that.
But I could see Immigrant Song being right there with those.
Just
Those are my personal favorites.
I would actually have my to top 3 if I have to say. I think everyone, even if you hate Led Zeppelin, likes at least 3 songs. It'd be Immigrant Song, Misty Mountain Hop,
Yeah.
and Kashmir.
Yeah, I mean Kashmir.
And I always say that because they influenced way better songs down the road. And some of my favorite bands have made covers of those songs, which are actually good. But yeah, song of the week would be Immigrant Song by the worst band in the world, Led Zeppelin.
He's put a smile on my face.
Hey, dude, like you got Led Zeppelin on that playlist that I don't update ever. It's been I don't have Spotify. It's so much of a pain in the ass to update a Spotify playlist if you don't have premium. So I'll probably just do an Apple Music and people can just switch over because it's better anyways.
Mhm.
Let's see. For trivia, I'm just looking if there's any other interesting trivia.
You already
Yeah,
told me that I
this-
ruined your trivia.
This was Cleavon Little's last performance. He had cancer and they all knew it. So I think they just were trying to get him on like one last role. This is speculation,
And to be fair, he was probably the most protagonistic character in the whole episode. Like, even though he was in on the end game, he's also apologetic about it. I was like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have done that.
Right. So I guess it's kind of cool that they were trying to, like, let's see if we can get him in on, a quick roll real quick before he can't do anymore. So, no. All right. That moves us to tonight's special section, the Ask a Mom advice. We have some amazing mothers on the podcast tonight. So what advice would you like to give as a mother for Mother's Day? Again, happy Mother's Day to all of our listeners, anyone who acts as a mother role to a child. We appreciate everything we do. So let's hear some good stuff.
I'm gonna stare at Lara again.
Like, what's the best Mother's Day gift you've ever gotten?
Or what would be the ideal? What would be your ideal Mother's Day?
Oh, I just want to take a nap for a whole day. Like just a straight whole day. I don't want to get out of the bed unless I have to pee. Maybe get something to eat. I just straight want to sleep. That would be the best day ever. Last Mother's Day, I got food poisoning, and I'm not gonna lie,
that's a terrible gift, by the way.
But I feel like it was just as amazing because I literally just got to stay in bed. But he bothered me. It's
telling as a parent. We're obviously parents. That it took food poisoning to keep you in bed all day.
Yeah, and like it barely kept me in bed all day. It was like, but also she wasn't necessarily she was walking, but not like as animated as she is now because she's a three-nager. So it's a constant mom. Daddy gets it. Like, just it doesn't matter. You will never again be alone in a room. It doesn't matter what room it is.
No, you will eventually. I do promise you now. At the age of 19, my daughter does not walk in on me in the bathroom because that'd be fucking weird.
I mean,
it's at some point they're just gonna like shut themselves in their own room and not be bothered. So,
but also she doesn't do it to you, but she would do it to your wife. So
yeah.
No, my child still wouldn't. It's the dogs. It's the dogs we have to worry about that are like, no, you can't go to the bathroom in peace. I'll have to come in with you and protect you in case someone tries to attempt on your life. That's
also a thing in my household.
Don't your dogs know you do jujitsu? If you haven't told them?
Oh, they know. If you hang out with anyone that does jujitsu more than 5 minutes, you'll know they do jujitsu. We're like fucking vegans and CrossFit people all wrapped up into one little shitty blanket.
I know our maintenance guy does jujitsu, and he competed at the Arnold actually. So.
What belt is he?
Oh, great question. Not positive, but I will find out.
Because now as a purple belt, I think you should ask him because I need to know if I can kick your maintenance guy's ass.
Okay. He came in second or third. No, first. He took home first place and second place.
All right.
At the Arnold competitions.
So here's
don't know what belt he is.
Here's what's funny though. You'll have motherfuckers that are white belts and be like, world champion. It's like, dude, you're the best white belt out of the 6 people that showed up that day.
That's fair. That's 100% fair. I don't know. So I will find out, and I'm going to tell you.
And for the record, I've never won a gold medal. I'm okay with that. I've come really close. I almost won a championship belt one time, and I lost by 1 point. And I remember I went out afterwards to get dinner in a beer, my favorite bar down here. My bartender Brian's like, "Did you win?" I said no, because I'd be wearing that belt I'd be wearing the championship belt right fucking now.
This is like one of those big like wrestling belts.
Yes, it was from 5 grappling. I lost 9-8 in the absolute finals, but it's fine. I'm not salty about it. It's okay. I'm over it.
I will say then that my best mom advice is just to do something for yourself. So like I just every 3 weeks I get my nails done and I don't even care. Like
That's
I
awesome.
don't even need to. I'm just gonna do it because it's 1 full hour that someone else does something for me.
I love it. I really do. So let me just kind of twist it a little bit. So again, with Mother's Day, we're releasing this on Mother's Day for our dads out there. I shouldn't say all of our dads, there might be single dads too, but for the men out there with a lovely wife that is a mother, what can they do to make their wife have the best Mother's Day?
Well, it's already too late to book a brunch. It was too late 3 months ago. Don't try. If you can't cook, don't do one at home either, because she'll wind up cooking it.
So,
Yeah,
hold on.
take
burn
the
the
kids
house
and
down.
leave.
Let's go to cooking real fast. Like I no longer accept anyone saying they don't know how to cook because YouTube exists. If you can fix your fucking washing machine with YouTube, you can cook a goddamn omelet with you, because it doesn't have to be a fancy breakfast, right?
No.
Let me see. It's Mother's Day. You're laying in bed, you're tired, you look over, your significant other isn't there, and they come back to you with simple scrambled eggs and some nicely cooked bacon. I feel like that's going to be cool, and you're going to be happy because it's right.
So here's the thing.
Oh shit! Okay,
Here it comes.
hold on. Let's add a mimosa onto that, and
Mimosa helps.
It does help. It will
I'll
help.
eat whatever. Josh actually does a pretty good job cooking. He knows that I like my bacon way crispier than his, so everything's
Burnt.
fine there. But my kids are 2 and 5. And what he's still learning is how to cook a meal so that nobody screams about it. That's where the problem comes in. Because if we're at a restaurant, I can at least deadpan look at my small children and go, that's too bad. We are in somebody else's place right now. I can't go grab you something else from the pantry. But if we're at home, then it becomes a whole thing. And sometimes one person wants cheese, and God forbid you put pepper on the table, because then they see their dad use pepper, and then they all want pepper, except they don't remember that they hate pepper. If you can avoid cooking something new, I'd say, stay away from new things. Go for safe. Go for something that.
DoorDash.
I was gonna say order something.
Order
just
something
order something
and
in.
bring it in. Or if you're like Jody, who lives in the middle of nowhere, also a thing for me. We don't have DoorDash or any delivery service or Uber. For that matter.
Well, okay, then tell your husband, go get in the car, put the kids in the car with them, go drive,
for like 7 hours while I sleep.
Just go. I don't even have to go.
I think the first Mother's Day,
go.
Yeah. First Mother's
Or
Day
take
during
me to a-
pandemic. I just put the kids in the car and I just ran the errands, like but the kind of errands where you just open your trunk and they put stuff in and let my wife sleep in.
We're doing a boozy brunch at my favorite brewery. It's on a farm.
What's your favorite brewery?
Rockmill Brewery
Rockmill.
Out of Lancaster.
Nice.
And they have food now. They have a restaurant like on the other side of the brewery. So that it's like a whole day. It's hiking and you can ride the horses and do all this stuff. And then I'm just gonna sit back at the restaurant and drink at the bar.
That's amazing. That sounds beautiful.
Awesome. I don't know what I'm doing.
Real fast, Dot, when you said that your kids might like different kind of eggs, I just imagine your children being like, I will not eat scrambled eggs. I will only eat poached with hollandaise sauce.
I said runny. These are medium.
They'll eat scrambled eggs. They're not terribly picky eaters. The problem comes when my husband is like, oh, well, I want cracked pepper on mine, and I don't like cheese in mine, so I'm just gonna forget to add it to the rest of them. And then there's screaming, because any excuse to scream, there's gonna be screaming. So it's that's the age we're at right now, though, because they'll also
well-
like play off of each other, like my eggs are slightly more scrambled than yours.
Mine has
That's
more
okay.
curdles.
Dude, I'm so glad that my
Yeah.
child is 19 and I have a vasectomy. I'm very happy about it right now.
We're currently going through a phase where she calls everything pizza. And so you have to decipher which pizza she's talking about. And typically for breakfast, it means an English muffin with butter and cinnamon sugar.
I mean, that could be pizza. You have a bread base, right? A doughy base with
that's a
toppings.
pizza.
Yeah, it's pizza.
And or she'll want a real pizza or a grilled cheese.
Which could also be a pizza. But
So
but what's
amazing.
very important is what kind of cheese does she like on her grilled cheese?
Oh, there we go.
So
That's,
she is a Swiss cheese
Ooh,
3-year-old, which is very
okay.
interesting. It was all I had at one point, and I just like hoped for the best, and it worked. Other than that, she will do American. She is an American
Yes.
cheese, but it has to be Texas toast, and if it's not, she knows the difference.
Oh yeah. No,
So I literally
I-
had to buy the frozen like garlic bread
Oh, yeah.
Texas toast, and
did,
then
did you see Jason just rubbing his hands together? He's like
Good.
Texas toast and
Texas
American
toast.
cheese. Let's do this.
So now it's a Texas toast. So it has to be, the frozen like Texas toast
Yeah.
slices you get. So with that, I have to put the cheese in there and then put it in the cast iron skillet to
Mm.
make sure it like melts properly. Or she'll scream. So I get it, Dottie. It's not ideal.
Yeah.
You have 2. That sounds worse. I don't.
There's a lot of screaming. It's good for some things, but bad for others. We also have the word mix up, but it's with tornadoes. Potatoes.
Oh,
So
the
he'll just
potato,
kind of-
the potato is coming.
Yeah, he'll go through the house and go, "Oh no, potato!" And you have to reassure him.
I imagine like a giant Mr. Potato Head just like busting through the walls, like the Kool-Aid man just coming after your kid.
When the sirens go off, he just looks at me with those big eyes and goes, "Is the potato coming?" Like, yeah, buddy, it'll be okay. Real quick though, before I forget, I did have mom advice, and it's to take care of yourself the same way you do your kids, even if it's just talking to yourself nicely. I mean, mine are, like I said, 2 and 5, so it's a lot of cheerleading and clapping and yay, you did the thing. You should be able to do that for yourself as well. Like, you got out of bed, you
Yeah.
put on clothes.
I took a shower
Yeah,
before noon. I don't know.
yeah, you brushed your hair.
You want to know what though? As a guy that's been in management in a couple companies, sometimes celebrating the small victories means a lot to a lot of people.
mhm.
And adults like, yay, I didn't take an 18-minute break. I only took a 15-minute break. I was supposed to. Like, cool, thanks, Jim. You did a great job today. I joke about it, but sometimes little small victories, though, like some people need that, right? They need that little reassurance. That's cool.
Yeah, you need a win once in a while. And if you could do it for other people, you can do it for yourself.
That's great. That's actually really great advice. Because would you say that a lot of mothers kind of sacrifice their own needs for their kids and their family?
Oh,
Mhm.
absolutely.
All
All
the
the
time.
time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going on, I forgot how many hours of not sleep.
Mhm.
Because at 5 o'clock this morning, it was, hey, what's up? I need you for something. And in the middle of the night, it's the same. And you just kind of go and go
Yeah.
and go until you can't.
It's not the kids, it's the dogs. And that's,
Yeah.
Oh, the dog.
I know. I have 2 dogs. It's
Oh,
terrible.
no.
I have a 13-year-old dog and a 15-year-old dog. So they're little old ladies. And like my 15-year-old Chihuahua terrier mix at like 4 a.m, she's like, it's time for water and to go downstairs and go pee. And I'm like, God damn it, it's so early. Why? But she still acts like a puppy, and we will be sharing pictures of her quinceañera party if she makes it until December, which she will.
I really
She's
hope
up
this happens.
Well, we're gonna get a little dress, and she's gonna be pretty. We're gonna take her to all her favorite things. We're gonna take her to her favorite brewery.
I love it.
She is
You
so.
get, a doggy pinata.
Who's gonna fucking hit it though?
They just put on the ground.
No,
let
they
them
just
kind of yeah.
wrap it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never heard of this, but I don't know.
I just
got
made
like
it up.
I have 6 months to plan still, or 7 months to plan still. So,
Just
we'll
like
see.
soak it in like bone broth or something.
So she loves bananas. It's her favorite food. She
Interesting.
loves beer. So
They make
I
doggy beer.
I can relate.
Oh,
they knew, and I knew she had a problem. Well, she's cool with non-alcoholic beer, so I don't know what it is about beer that she loves. But one time I got home from work when I was working at Apple, and I think I got off work at like midnight and got home at 1 a.m. And my wife worked morning; she's already asleep, and the dogs are upstairs. I got home, sat on the couch, and I popped out a beer. So you heard like, and I hear dum, 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 as she ran downstairs because she heard the beer top open. I'm like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't give you drinks this anymore. And then she loves coffee with cream and sugar. So on her quinceañera,
And this dog's lived how long?
dude, she's
On the
She's
diet
almost
of beer
she's
and
almost
coffee.
15, and
The bougiest dog I know that does all the things you're not supposed to.
she's just fucking food driven. So my wife went one time, we had breakfast in the morning, had coffee. She put her coffee on the side table by their couch, and she was, oh, I need to go run to the store real fast. So she got up, left the garage where her car's parked, and my dog walks over to where the laundry room is, which goes in the garage, and she does this. And you guys can't, if you guys want to see this, you have to watch the video. So she's leaning towards the garage door. She hears the garage door close. She forgets I'm still home. She runs, jumps onto the couch, jumps onto the side table, and starts drinking my wife's coffee. I said, Abigail, and she jumped like, what the fuck? I didn't even realize you're still sitting there. This is bullshit. But she's so smart. She realized, oh wait, the person left. I can go drink their coffee, but I have to wait for the garage door to close because that's when the person's officially left. So she's I would die for this dog, but I refuse to call her a good dog. I just tell her, hey, Abby, you are a dog. and I would die for you, but you're not a good dog.
aw.
You're the
Are you
best
gonna
dog.
do the quinceañera awkward photos where there's like clouds in the background and for some reason it's
Oh.
zoomed in on their face a bit?
Can you
People
do,
that
like,
nobody knows are there.
Yes.
glamour shots for the dog?
Yes.
Yes, you should take her the glamour shots.
Yes. glamour
I'm not gonna say a hard no to any of this. We'll
shots.
do.
Photos by
we-
Deb.
We can use our money from our Only Dad's account to throw her a party.
Yeah.
Jason, is this a real? You reference this all the time. You started this account yet?
Of course.
Of course.
Oh Lord, I'm never googling my own name. Okay.
No.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up an episode. Lara and Dottie, thank you so much for coming on. Are there any
Thanks.
projects or things that you'd like to plug while you're here? Bloody
Oh,
Good Horror Slack.
always Bloody Good Horror Slack. Join and talk to us all day, every day.
Yes.
And you can sometimes find me on Cinemando Girls Edition.
Oh, right. Yeah. We had what's her name on?
Kathy or Elizabeth.
Kathy. Yeah, we had Kathy
Yeah.
on. We will have had
Yeah.
both Kathy and Elizabeth on.
So I love Kathy. She's so great. We're doing a girls edition, and we've done a couple episodes, and it's going pretty good, and
Nice.
so it's enjoyable. So find us on Cinemando, YouTube, Twitter, all the things. And then if you want a super lengthy, non-structured podcast to listen to, check me out on Thor's Hour of Thunder.
Thor, yes.
I mean, we're not super structured. We try our best.
I have a structure and then I throw it out the window at some point every episode.
But you have one.
Yes, exactly.
In theory, yes.
So
As long as I'm going into it with a structure, I'm
there
happy.
is a document where we do stuff kind of in an order. We so that's it. That's where I am. Those are the things I'm doing. It's fun.
I don't do cool things that you could plug, but I am very passionate about trying to get more women to work as programmers,
Yes.
Yes.
especially with me, so that I'm not so alone. So if anybody has questions about that or wants to hit me up about tech stuff or nerd stuff or aerial silk stuff, they can find me on Instagram at awkward dot. It's awkward underscore dot dot. And that's because I'm not that great at aerial silks. So I get stuck a lot. I'm learning.
What are so for let's say women or anybody trying to get into the programming field, do you have any good resources they could use to start at?
Yeah, Women Who Code is really helpful. Power to Fly can be great for people who are tech adjacent and looking for work because they've got a decent job board. There's different moms in tech groups that you can just kind of search for in your area if you're a mom. And if you're someone who did tech work and is looking to get back into it, some of the bigger companies like Meta and Google will have returnships. So reaching out to people who work at those places and just asking about their return programs is helpful as well.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Nice. Okay. Well, again, thank you, ladies, for coming on. Really appreciate it, especially in your time zones and in your displaced situations. We wish everyone a happy Mother's Day. We really appreciate everyone for listening. I can't talk right now. I'm all tongue-tied. Talk about Mother's Day just really gets me worked up.
Yeah, we're all very appreciative of the struggles that mothers go through, and a lot of times it's a very underappreciated role in the world. That we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. And we appreciate everyone for listening. We really appreciate it if you would give us a rating review on iTunes, a rating on Spotify. And with that, we thank you for listening to Dads from the Crypt.
Goodbye.
Follow Dads from the Crypt on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or I will follow you to the grave. No, seriously, you really should watch. But be careful what you ask for. You may get it.